Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for the week of February 23rd. We're going to jump right in here. You have this courage card and this pleasure card. So, this whole year, 2026, is just a good year to work on being brave, bold, assertive, developing confidence as well. It was pretty much I think it was like the number two thing that I talked about the most in the 2026 readings that I think one of the most helpful things we could all do this year is do little confidence challenges or, do something to become more confident and start small, right? And I think if you do that, that will be just a good use of your time. I would say that this year is also important for having fun, doing more fun things. There's like just a serious energy. And again, whenever the energy like tilts in a direction, it's not that it's bad, but we should also be working with the opposite side to balance it out. So, I think people are going to be busy this year, especially once we get past like March into April and all that, it's going to be busier. And it's going to be very serious. And we're going to be probably all of us will be working like crazy or, working on things and putting a lot of energy into stuff. So I would balance both sides, work and play. You have the Judgment card, the King of Swords, and the Five of Wands. A lot of answers coming in this year as well. I mean, you keep getting these readings, Aquarius, about getting answers. You're actually like the number one sign that gets these readings that really talk about getting information or answers. I mean, literally, we go down Hangman. He's gaining a new perspective to get an answer. You have the Ace of Swords, which is an answer. King of Swords. You have the Eight of Wands as well, which is also an answer. So if you've been waiting to get answers on like what to do, you could be getting those answers with the Judgment card. I think it's important to kind of like trust yourself more. Like if you feel like you should, move, make a move, something like that. The Judgment card, this is your higher self angel. But sometimes I think judgment can be a little bit subtle. You can literally just feel like you should go do something. And it might not make logical sense immediately, which is always the problem with the King of Swords, right? And, but you should do it anyway if you feel like you need to go do something with your time. And I would do it. You have the King of Swords, which could just be you showing up in this reading here, Aquarius. Whenever you show up as yourself, kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So the King of Swords is coming up in a position of power and strength. King of Swords is a card of kind of like knowledge and wisdom, but I get more like discernment off of this card. He is the card of discernment. It's like what you see is what you get, but more like what he sees is what he gets. Like he's seeing the truth. He's seeing things very clearly, and he's able to make very wise decisions because he is trusting his own discernment, right? And so it could just be, on a very simple level, I feel this reading is just talking about this week being very clear. You could just be feeling clear, feeling like you are, getting answers, and that is obviously a good thing. I also feel that some of you are clearly wrapping up like a transformation. We have the Judgment card, which is kind of like a rebirth. He has these butterflies behind him, which represent a transformation. So it's like, but I feel like you're at the end. It's like you have completed some sort of transformation in your life. You have the Five Wands. Yes, all air signs are going to be dealing with this all year. So Five Wands is conflict or competition. Again, your job as an air sign is to make sure that you are studying the competition and doing something different, plain and simple, right? And this is all I would focus on. Again, I'm an Aquarius rising, and I have a Gemini moon, and I have Mercury in Aquarius. This is all I'm focusing on this year, is like anything I'm doing, and I'm going to study the competition and just do what they're not, or filling in the gaps, right? It's an amazing year, I think, for air signs to discover the gaps that exist. It's like with Neptune and Aries, chances are our competition, they're all doing the same thing, whether we realize it or not. And there's probably a gap in the market, right? But this goes for not just business, this goes for love, health, anything you're trying to do. There's probably something people are missing. And again, especially in April, when Uranus enters into Gemini, I think air signs need to find that gap that exists. And all you have to do is study the competition. That's it. Let's see what comes up for you here, Aquarius. With the Judgment card, you have the Three of Wands. Yeah, I mean, growing past things with the Three of Wands. Three of Wands is a card of expansion, growth. It's a card of leaving a comfort zone, but it's about like becoming bigger, becoming bigger than the competition. And like I said, not just in work or money, but in all areas of your life. And expanding, doing that will just make you more successful. I think the thing for Aquarius is it's like, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, Pluto is where you get your power. Pluto wants you to become more dynamic. It wants you to not just know one way of doing things. It wants you to have like a encyclopedia about like how you can work or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. You really want to know the ins and the outs of whatever those things are. And again, this is not something that has to take you hours and hours and hours every single day, right? I think just very simply, and I realize my light is off here. Very simply, I think spending like 15 minutes extra a day. Like if you have a job, going on YouTube and learning about how to get better at it for like 15 minutes every single day will have a huge impact on your life. So I would definitely do something like that. With the King of Swords, you have the Queen of Swords. Again, clarity. Queen of Swords has clouds halfway up her body, and she is seeing clearly for the first time, right? These clouds only go halfway up her body here, and so she is open and willing to receive. She has her hand up, but her sword up, so she's willing to accept something, and we see something right here, an opportunity with the Ace of Pentacles. But she's kind of like cautiously optimistic. I don't really feel good or bad about this. I kind of feel neutral about that Queen of Swords energy. It's like that. I just feel like that is how you are right now. With the Five of Wands, you have the Ten of Pentacles. Yes, this is what you can build. It makes perfect sense. We've had Uranus and Taurus for a long time. And so you fixed signs are definitely you have been triggered to build long-term security with Uranus and Taurus. And even though it's leaving in April, it doesn't matter. When a major planet leaves a sign, that's when we really put in the work. So, I think a lot of you are going to be building more financial security, or it could just be security in your life in general with the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles is kind of like having it all. And so, as I always say, I don't think we ever truly have it all. That kind of defeats the purpose of life. But I do think that working towards having it all is a worthy goal, and it will make your life better. So, a lot of you could be becoming much more successful than you have been in a long time. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, yes, this makes sense. It says it's okay to be misunderstood. You're an Aquarius. You're supposed to be weird in the first place. It says perception is not always based on truth. You have this card that says you do not have to go it alone. It says reach out for support in this time. Yes. I think the weirdness part is more important for you, Aquarius. Again, Uranus and Gemini rewards sticking out like a sore thumb. That is also my motto this year in 2026 is to stick out like a sore thumb. Just look at the crazy stuff I'm doing on this channel, right? Some of it works, some of it doesn't. You're going to get a lot of criticism, but at the same time, if it makes you rich, you'll be laughing all the way to the bank with the Ten of Pentacles. So, like, who the hell cares, right? Is what I would say. As long as you're not doing things that hurt other people, you'll be perfectly fine. Again, Saturn and Aries, we have to be loud, but we have to be loud for the right reasons. Again, we're going to see plenty of jerks popping up all over the place with Saturn and Aries, but also, we will see people doing, being loud for the right reasons. And, I think this really wants you to stick out for sure. You have the Ace of Pentacles, the Hangman, and the Death card. Could be a pretty solid opportunity coming in for you at this time. I feel like it takes you away from something, like not in a bad way here, Aquarius, but you have a job and you're going to get a new job opportunity that would require you to leave. You have the Eight of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Eight of Wands can be like movement, and Ace of Swords can represent cutting something out. So, again, don't be surprised if you get an opportunity. You don't have to take it if you don't want it, but I do feel that there could be like an opportunity coming in at this time. I feel like you want real growth, here, Aquarius. I feel like you've noticed that things have been like too slow since maybe like 2022, somewhere around there. And, maybe not bad, but just not as much growth as you want. And so I think you're kind of like focused on creating more growth with the Ace of Pentacles. You have the Hangman. Hangman is about seeing things from a new perspective. Again, he's hanging from the Tree of Knowledge and Wisdom. He's hanging upside down, and he's seeing things from a new perspective. We are clearly in a time of new perspectives. So it makes perfect sense to me. And he is hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom, and you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom with the King of Swords, so you could be learning a lot at this time. And again, learning new perspectives is going to make you very successful. Again, I always tell people, it's like you don't have to like agree with the information or not. It's more about just making yourself more dangerous in a good way, right? So if you have a job, learning from as many people as you possibly can will make you very successful. And even, like I said, even if you don't agree with those people, and it'll just make you more dynamic, which I think is what this reading is wanting you to do. I think I said to you recently, it's almost like you're becoming a Swiss Army knife in life, and where you have a bunch of tools, and gathering those tools is what's going to make you more successful. You have the Death card. So again, I feel like you're completing some sort of transformation. Like I said, to me, I don't know, it just feels like the end of a transformation. I don't think this is saying that you are transforming right now. You're all different, and I'm reading for a million of you, so sure, some of you could be, but I think for the most part, some of you are kind of like finally getting to the end. We even have the two pillars from the moon back here, and the sun is coming up between those two pillars. So the Death card can kind of represent gaining clarity. It can represent leaving a moon period and kind of like seeing things clearly for the first time. So like I said, the whole entire reading also talks about clarity. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Four of Wands. Yes, the commitment thing. In 2025, if you remember back, you kept getting the Star card, which is your card. But the Star card, we have to make like 110% commitment to anything that we're doing. We can't just dip our toes in the water like the lady on the Star card is. So this is saying, like, if you're going to commit to a new opportunity, I definitely feel like a job opportunity for some of you, but it could be any other type of opportunity as well. I think this is saying you need to make that full commitment to that opportunity. The other thing that this is begging for is more freedom. I think there's something about like your part of the sky, like you, Pisces, Aries, that part of the sky, that is wanting you to have more time to do like fun things that you enjoy, things that bring in fulfillment, right? Things that are more heart-based as well. And so the Four of Wands is a card of being set free. And I would, again, there's like a million things you could do. But it's like if you have a job right now where you're working 90 hours a week, but you could get a different job that pays you the same amount of money for 40 hours a week, that would be more freedom, right? With the Hangman, you have the Magician. The Magician is pointing to the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands is your words. And the Magician definitely manifests with his words. The Magician is also a card of reinvention. He has reinvented himself. He has reinvented himself to match the energy of what he wants. And like I said, with all this transformation stuff here, I think a lot of you maybe have completed a reinvention so that you are more of a match for a certain energy. With the Death card, you have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, all this clarity coming into this reading. It's like if you have been confused or not sure what to do, if you've been feeling stuck, you could be getting answers this week, finally. On like what to do next or where to go next, and you could be setting yourself free. Funny enough, I think that some of you could also be seeing like where you have overcomplicated things in your life. She's kind of like overcomplicating her situation because her situation is actually very simple. The story of the card is that she could easily lean up against one of these swords here, and she could set her hands free, and then she could take her blindfold off, and she would realize there are no swords in front of her. She could easily step forward and she's not going to drown. The story of the card is that she was put in these 8 swords, and it's low tide, and she's about to drown because the water is coming up, right? But really, if she just opened up to opened up to different solutions, she would set herself free. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this transition card, which I think I said like transition, transformation here. You have a synchronicity card as well. Yeah, I think that's what you really should be paying attention to, Aquarius, is the synchronicities. It's like the more in alignment you are, I feel the more synchronicities you will have. The more in alignment you are with like your goals, wishes, dreams, like the correct answers or whatever, you're going to have a lot of those like synchronicity type feelings. You have the Queen of Cups, the Eight of Wands, and the Ace of Swords. Queen of Cups wants you to follow your heart, of course. Like I said, I think the more you set your heart free by being able to like do more things that you love, like we said at the beginning of the reading, the more you fulfill your heart, the better things are going to get. And I think what you're going to notice is speed here, Aquarius, with the Eight of Wands. Like sometimes speed is bad. Sometimes speed is good. And, it's like if you have a job that you love, and if it feels like at the end of the day that you only worked for like 1 hour, that is a good thing. If like, if you're loving it so much that things go by quickly, right? But I think that this is saying that things that are going to work for you right now, it's going to feel like time is flying by. And things that aren't going to work, it's going to feel like being stuck in the mud. And that's probably what you should pay attention to. I would also pay attention to your words with the Magician. The Eight of Wands is communication, words, things like that. And so, of course, all these wands are pointing in one direction. I always say it's critically important that we only point in one direction with the Eight of Wands. If we're pulling in two directions, then we're not going to get what we want. So we have to make sure that we're speaking things positively into existence, and then things will move faster with the Eight of Wands. Also, you being a fixed sign, sometimes I think the Eight of Wands is just like a small challenge for fixed signs, because those 8 wands are all in a different position on that card. So they're all hitting at different times. And sometimes I feel with the Eight of Wands that it basically says that, don't worry so much about the order in which things are happening. If things are happening, that's good enough. You have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords is like a victory or a big success coming in for you, so definitely could be some sort of victory or success coming in here. You also have 2 aces. 2 aces is a yes to any question that I haven't answered. On top of that, the sword is above the mountains, so you could be overcoming a problem or a challenge. Yesterday, I'm recording this on the 18th. Yesterday was the 17th, the day of the eclipse. I think the eclipse, it looked a little bit challenging, although I think eclipses like this one we had are a little bit unpredictable because it was squaring Uranus. And the problem with Uranus is I hear a lot of astrologers talking about Uranus, and they it's like they say something bad is going to happen. But my thing with Uranus is it's unpredictable. It could be bad. It could be good. It could be both. So, it's a little bit hard to predict like what's going to happen with a eclipse squaring Uranus. Like it could be both. The other thing is it was conjunct Venus. So, Venus could make it a little bit more positive. And I've noticed a lot of people this week of the 23rd have been getting these cards of overcoming a problem. So, really, it could be good for us. You have another ace. With the Queen of Cups, you have the Ace of Cups, which is about fulfilling your heart first. Again, probably one of the most important things for you. We are entering into the Aquarius Leo eclipse cycle, right? And like I said during the eclipse readings, this Aquarius eclipse that we just had was all about making space. And I'm going to keep talking about it because eclipses can last for like 6 months. So if you haven't made space for something better in your life yet, you still have plenty of time. And, I would just pick something. I always say, my thing about astrology is it's like you have a choice. You can pick, or you can let the universe pick for you. You don't want the universe to pick for you, right? So, I would pick something in your life that needs to change, and I would change it with this energy, or I would cut it out to make room for something better. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Six of Cups. For some of you, this could be love communication, for sure. I do feel that. And we have the Four of Wands. Could be a fire sign with the King of Wands here, if you are looking for love. Six of Cups, I always say, doesn't represent someone from the past. It can represent thinking about the past, but, it can represent like a soulmate. So if you're looking for love, I do get that feeling there. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Page of Wands, which you have twice in this reading. So you could be attracting a fire sign or an adventurous person with the Page of Wands. And, it could be more of a King of Wands type person. But, they're showing up here as a page because they're probably an admirer or someone who's interested in you, Aquarius. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this unlocking card. It says resolution, revelations, openness, new paths, solutions, Ace of Swords, destiny, success, significant answers, influential. You have this direction. It says uncharted territories, aligning, new experiences, finding your way, inner compass, exploring and searching. Yes, I think you are. It's almost like you've developed an inner compass here, Aquarius, especially with that synchronicity card. It's like when you're, like I said, when you're doing the right things, I think things will move quickly, and you probably will see a lot of synchronicity. When you're not, you won't. So I would pay attention to that. Again, I think you are unlocking some sort of solution with the Ace of Swords. I literally said it on the Ace of Swords, so there you go. You have the Page of Wands, the Justice card, and the King of Wands. I don't know. I feel good about this, but I also feel it's like you are. I feel like this person is going to make you do things that you don't want to do that you do want to do, is what I would say. It's like I feel a little bit of resistance here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it's like, let's say you don't like dancing. It's like this person might be like, let's go dancing, and you might be like, I don't want to do that. I don't like dancing in front of people. But it's like I feel like if you do it, you'll have a great time. That's what I'm getting at here, Aquarius? Where it's like this is. I feel like this is the type of person that could kind of get you out of your shell a little bit, which is probably a good thing. But it definitely feels like an adventure. So if you're looking for love, looks good. Having said that, I think all of you should be doing something to get out of your shell. We talked about sticking out like a sore thumb, right? And so I think, working on not caring what people think about you would be a good exercise. And again, start small, right? You don't have to do anything crazy, but you could start small and see where it goes. You have the Justice card. Everybody's had the Justice card this week. So again, kind of an interesting thing. We could be getting like positive karma. Eclipses can bring in karma or some sort of karma. And even though this is the week after the eclipse, the 23rd, doesn't matter. It's not, eclipses, like I said, can last for a while. So when you get the energy could be whenever. And, there could be something that's bringing in justice for a lot of people, especially if there has been an injustice in your life. You have the King of Wands. Like I said, you could be attracting like a fiery, bold, assertive, confident person. I think the whole entire reading is saying that you should be working on your confidence and your courage. He has to have the courage to be innovative. Something people always forget about the King of Wands is he has the gift of foresight. It's like he's a trend catcher. He can see trends before they happen. And he's a little bit of a trailblazer as well. So if you are seeing any opportunities to like be a trailblazer in career, business, work, whatever you do, I would take advantage of those opportunities because you're probably going to catch a trend before it happens. And, that could be very, very successful, especially with the 10 of Pentacles showing up here. Let's see. With the Page of Wands, you have the Devil card. Yeah, Devil's coming up in the good stuff. Obviously, if a person seems toxic, I would avoid that at all costs. But Devil in the good stuff can say you're releasing something toxic or that this person is not toxic, which obviously would be a good thing. With the Justice card, you have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is like charging forward towards success in the good stuff. It could also be like karma returning, especially with the Six of Cups coming up right here. And it kind of makes sense to me. Like I said, with an eclipse, I also think of North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo, like we have right now, is very karmic as well. Like we can get karma. If we work with the energy, we can earn karma, like positive karma. So, I think that would be good. With the King of Wands, yes, get to work on your innovative ideas. You have an innovative idea right now. Judgment. I think you have a new idea. And whatever it is, Aquarius, I would definitely get to work because it looks to me like it's going to be very straightforward and very successful. Maybe that's the problem. It's kind of popping into my head that some of you are looking at an idea and you're saying, it can't be that simple. It's too simple. It's too easy. I think it is that easy for you. That's the thing. And yeah, maybe there's some things you could do to stand out above the competition. Like I said, maybe there are some things that you're going to have to do to like stand out. But, again, I literally feel that it is easy. I also feel like you're kind of like earning time here, Aquarius, with this reading. There's something about it that is saying to me that you are kind of I don't want to say you're buying your time back, but it's, it's like what you're working on is going to give you time, which is good. You have this bell. It says announcement on it. Again, we see a ton of communication in this reading, so I would be paying attention to any communication you're receiving. You have this bridge. It says successfully overcoming a problem. Yes, Ace of Swords is overcoming a problem, so you could be overcoming a problem at this time. Can't make this up, Aquarius. You have this quill. It says, get back to basics. Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is just doing what works, right? And he's putting in the work into something, and the result is right in front of his face. So I think keeping things simple is the answer. You have this man card. It says dealings or relationships with a man. You have this bull. It says plenty of material things. You could be attracting someone very successful into your life. I also don't attach gender in these readings. So, the man could just be you, even if you're not a man. It could just be the person I'm reading for. And you could, with the 10 of Pentacles and 8 of Pentacles, you definitely could be increasing your material wealth. You have this wind chimes. It says peace and harmony. Yeah, I would focus on doing more things that bring in more peace and harmony. Again, very serious year. So I would be, which is there, like, it's good that it's serious because in some ways, right? Because we're taking the things we're working on seriously and probably getting the work done. But on the other hand, it's like you need something to like get out of your head. Something fun, something enjoyable, something that brings you peace and harmony. So I would have some sort of habit or, like a hobby or something you go and do to get out of your head. But this looks really good, Aquarius. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.